topics in the modern world are as deeply polarized or as frequently misunderstood as the Israel-Palestine conflict. Looking at modern borders, observers often assume this is a territorial dispute that flared up when the State of Israel was founded in 1948, or a religious war stretching back to antiquity. But the true ignition point of this crisis requires us to examine factors entirely outside the Middle East. We have to trace the rise of 19th-century European empires, waves of mass migration, and the birth of modern nationalism. To understand why two distinct groups claim sovereignty over the exact same piece of land today, we first have to uncover the origins of the modern Jewish claim by starting in late 1800s Europe. The modern struggle in the Levant began as an exported European crisis.
In 1891, Paris was regarded as a global center for liberty and equality. For many Jewish families who had moved there to integrate, like the Dreyfus family from Alsace, it promised a life defined by French citizenship rather than religious exclusion. Theodor Herzl, an Austro-Hungarian journalist covering Paris for a Viennese newspaper, arrived believing that integration into European society was the answer to the Jewish question. Herzl's belief in European integration faced a significant test 3 years later, during a political scandal that divided French society. In 1894, a Jewish artillery officer named Captain Alfred Dreyfus was falsely convicted of treason for allegedly passing military secrets to Germany. The ensuing scandal saw the French public target Dreyfus specifically because of his Jewish descent, leading to mass anti-Semitic demonstrations in the streets of Paris. Watching this, Herzl abandoned his goal of integration. He concluded that no matter how much a Jewish person tried to assimilate, European society would continue to view them as outsiders. He proposed that Jewish safety could only be secured through a sovereign state of their own, leading him to found the movement of political Zionism. While the Zionist movement established the goal of a Jewish homeland, it immediately faced a logistical hurdle: where exactly this new nation should be built. Finding that location meant looking back 3,000 years to the ancient Middle East, where the Jewish people trace their history. Central to their religious identity is the belief that this specific territory was promised to them as a homeland. By 1000 BC, this land was the center of the Israelite monarchy. Under the rules of King David and King Solomon, Jerusalem became the political capital and the site of the First Temple. This era established Jerusalem as the spiritual and cultural heart for Jewish populations, a status that would persist for millennia. These centuries tied the specific landscape of the Levant to the core of Jewish religious practice. The region was frequently invaded by surrounding powers, including the Assyrian and Babylonian empires, which resulted in cycles of conquest and displacement. A final turning point occurred in 70 CE. Following a Jewish revolt, Roman forces under Titus besieged Jerusalem and destroyed the Second Temple, forcing much of the population to flee. This stone relief in Rome depicts Roman soldiers carrying away a looted Jewish menorah, a visual record of the city's fall. This began the Jewish diaspora, where Jewish communities scattered across Europe, North Africa, and Asia. For the next 2,000 years, the connection to the land was maintained through religious memory and the daily prayer for a return to Jerusalem. During this exile, the Promised Land functioned as a religious concept rather than a physical state. That all changed in the 19th century. In the late 1800s, Zionists transformed the ancient religious connection into a modern political movement. Seeking an escape from European anti-Semitism, the Zionist movement officially focused on Palestine as the location for a future Jewish state. However, Palestine was already a populated city and region. As seen in this photograph from the 1800s, it was home to an established Arab population, with its own historical ties to the land. The Jewish search for a safe haven in Palestine now faced the reality of the existing Arab population. The modern conflict began at this intersection. A movement for Jewish safety met an existing population already living on the land, beginning a century of dispute over this same territory.